Z390 Phantom Gaming 9 shares certain design elements with the Taichi motherboards, starting with the heatsinks and their shape and the plastic shrouds that cover the I/O panel and audio system. The design of the board uses the three main colors of the Phantom game line: black, grey and dark red. These are printed as always on the PCB directly. In terms of the CPU power delivery system, the Phantom Gaming 9 uses a 10+2+1+1 configuration. The VRM itself is composed out of Texas Instrumental Next FET MOSFETs alongside Ichicon 12K series capacitors. As is the norm these days, the CPU power is delivered through a dual connector configuration composed out of a single 8-pin and a single 4-pin. In regular usage, the 8-pin connector is sufficient for all your compatible CPUs. However, the extra 4-pin connector is for extreme overclocking usage and of course for tasks that require stable voltage flow. The cooling of the VRM system is achieved by two all-aluminum heatsinks that are connected through a single nickel-plated copper heat pipe. These heatsinks are shaped to offer not only a good aesthetic design but also feature fins carved on the top surface to benefit from the airflow inside the system. In other news, the PCIe Express slots are reinforced with metal for increased strength and of course a better look overall. In between these slots there is the BIOS battery as well as two M.2 slots for high-speed SSDs. The third SSD slot is placed under the chipset heatsink and features as usual a metallic heatsink already pre-installed. Other features worth mentioning that some manufacturers love to skip and only use on the top-of-the-line motherboards are the debug screen and the power and reset buttons. These features are invaluable, especially since the 2-digit display is capable of real-time CPU temperature showcasing. Right under them you can easily spot the two BIOS chips. This is the case because the Phantom Gaming 9 has a dual BIOS setup, so you have one backup BIOS available at all times. The Phantom Gaming 9 is equipped with 6 SATA 3 6GB connectors. The extra 2 SATA 3 connectors are controlled by an AS-Media controller. In addition, the SATA connectors are sharing the bandwidth with the SATA M.2 slots. The back of the board is filled up. The motherboard has a pre-installed Wi-Fi card and antenna slots, with those also included, a clear CMOS button and a single USB Type-C connector. These are alongside the usual ports and connectors found on high-end motherboards. And now let's move on with the BIOS used for this motherboard. Unlike the Z390 Phantom Gaming motherboard reviewed a few days ago, this BIOS does feature and starts with an easy page that offers all the important information such as the storage devices installed, the memory speeds and timings, as well as the fans connected to the motherboard and their speed in real time. The rest of the BIOS is almost the same with the rest of the Phantom Gaming motherboards, using a black and red color scheme and the same physical layout all around. All the small changes in between the board's BIOSes will be due to the used features for each motherboard model. In terms of RGB integration, this motherboard has all the usual spots illuminated by LEDs around the chipset heatsink and the audio panel on the lower part of the board and on the I/O panel cover. This RGB system is controlled from either the BIOS or from the dedicated ASRock software found on their website. By default, it will either have a breathing motion or will cycle through all the spectrum of colors. Starting our gaming benchmarks with GTA 5 at very high settings and 1080p with tessellation turned off, and we can easily see that the Phantom Gaming 9 tops off the charts when paired with an Intel i7 8700K at stock clocks. There are no frame rate dips regardless of the scenery used in the game, like the desert or the inner circle of the city. We follow up with The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt at 1080p with the Ultra preset enabled and Fireworks disabled. Yet again, the performance is very good. However, when the scenery changes, there might be an occasional frame rate drop, especially inside a heavy populated city with plenty of lights to be rendered. The last game to be tested is the latest Deus Ex installment, Mankind Divided. This game is by far the hardest on any system due to the number of lights to be rendered as well as the new implementation of DirectX 12. This game is tested at Ultra presets with MSAA turned off and DirectX 12 enabled by default, while the resolution is set at 1080p. The overall gaming performance is very good, the frame rate never dropping below 45 in heavy rendering areas. In other parts of the game, the frame rate will maintain a steady 60 frames per second. For raw competing performance, I am using the Cinebench AR15 benchmark, thanks to its easy to understand data and reliability in terms of results. The Phantom Gaming 9 sits at the top of the Intel segment of the graphs, being outrun by a Ryzen 1700X and a Threadripper 2950X. Nevertheless, the performance is what we can expect from a high-end motherboard paired with an 8700 CPU. The ASRock Z390 Phantom Gaming, it is then a reasonable priced motherboard for the 9th generation of Intel processors that, contrary to its name, focuses more on performance, quality and connectivity. The VRM system uses high quality components for the most part and has a 10+2+1+1 phase configuration. The features packed on these motherboards are what makes the Phantom Gaming 9 a good value product. Not many motherboards will offer 3 network ports with 2 different network cards integrated, while also having 3 SATA M.2 slots for high-speed SSDs. The ASRock Phantom Gaming 9, which by the way it's a very long name, can be found at around €294 or about $269 US, with a standard 2-year warranty from the manufacturer.